Good morning. You joining now for your hurricane and severe weather talk. Today is July 4th, 2011. Happy 4th of July. It is nearing the 12 o'clock hour Eastern time, but this is your hurricane and severe weather update. As you can see right now by storm warning Doppler from the Gibson Ridge radar software, you can see we have a complex of showers and thunderstorms developing over portions of Tennessee into Kentucky, which is spreading off to the south and east. A little bit of outflow was hoping to spin off a few more storms south of Williamsburg as these storms continue to progress off to the north and off to the south and east at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Areas around Whitley City, Huntsville, and Points East need to worry about this complex until later on in the afternoon hours. You can see that is pretty much the only game in plan right now. We have a trough of low pressure extending in portions of the parts of Virginia and parts of North Carolina this morning. But you can see as this complex moves in, expect overall storm coverage to intensify as we head into the afternoon hours. You can see right now we also have a storm that's obviously recently developed southeast of the Nashville area, moving off to the east and northeast, trying to attach that line. So more storm development is expected through the afternoon hours across majority of the area. Because of that, here's the Storm Prediction Center risk. You can see there's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over that region that we were just showing you. There's a risk of severe thunderstorms over portions of the Carolinas today, parts of North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and parts of West Virginia and Virginia for the afternoon and evening hours, mainly associated with that complex, which is located right around where this line is, where the complex is, spreading off to the east. Main threat will likely be damaging winds with this storm squall. There also is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over portions of the northern plains today, portions of Wyoming, Nebraska, portions of South Dakota, and parts of Minnesota. The storm threat will begin to amplify and increase later on this afternoon to the evening hours with damaging winds, large hail, and an isolated tornado threat. There also is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over portions of the way up there in the northeast today, portions of New Hampshire and Maine. It appears possibly a complex of storms may form in Canada and spread off to the east and southeast, which will help develop showers and thunderstorms over portions of this area later on today. With it being so high up in elevation, won't be good view to see on the radar, but the potential is there for damaging winds and associated with this storm, but the potential for some large hail is also possible with this complex. Here's day's 2 outlook. Tomorrow, you can see there's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over portions of, once again, the west central plains tomorrow up into the Rocky Mountains, over portions of southern, southeastern parts of Montana, parts of Wyoming, once again, South Dakota and Nebraska, extending now farther south, just northeast of the Denver, Colorado area, so portions of Colorado and Kansas is in the storm risk tomorrow. Once again, a broad thunderstorm risk for the entire country tomorrow, pretty much. Nearly every country in the 50 states are under a storm risk tomorrow for afternoon and evening pop-up showers and thunderstorms. So once again, if you have any plans today, be sure to keep an eye on the sky today. If you see any storms building in the distance, be sure to come on inside. The storms won't last that long, but they'll last enough to wet the ground. So about 15 to 25 minutes the storms will last. And after that's over, then you can go back inside and enjoy your plans. Here's a look at the National Weather Service map right now. You can see for once, it's broad of any heat advisories today. It's still going to be another hot day, even though there's no advisory in place. Still going to be another very hot day today. We're still talking about some areas are going to be low to mid 90s. Some areas may be a little bit hotter than that, but it's still going to be another hot day and a humid day. But it doesn't reach criteria for anything to be issued across the area. You can see there's still a big bubble of high pressure around this area. So with that cyclonic flow around it, it's still going to be a very hot day today. Some areas are still going to be nearing the temperatures of the mid to upper 90s with some heat indices over 100 degrees. So it's still going to be another dangerous day today, just not looking as hot in some areas. So as you can see right now, portions of there are some ozone alerts today with this humid air in place. There is potential for some it can get very dangerous for you if you have any health problems today, especially over parts of North Georgia, the Tennessee Valley, and even parts of the coast today, the Mid-Atlantic coast, are under the ozone alert, possibly for not for unhealthy air to develop across the area later on today. So be sure and take care if you're going outside today. Here's a look right now. You can't really get a good read of it, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can see this is a sign that the ridge is going to stay in place and where the storm track is likely going to extend. The area of high pressure is pretty much centered over a portion of the central plains today. You can see with that cyclonic flow and pattern, the storm track is mainly going to stay off to the north, pretty much from Oregon to Idaho. Right where I'm drawing this red mark is where the storm track is going to go. So if you live around that area, that is your risk for seeing the best chance of any significant amounts of rainfall. Southeast will once again stay very dry, very hot today. As you see, pretty much by the indices, it's going to be another very hot day today. But once again, with the very humid today, pop-up showers and thunderstorms of portions are possible over a portion of the southeast today. So it's going to be another very hot day in some portion of the area. But this ridge is going to continue for the next several days, as it shows with the models. We're going to see what the next model run shows. If it shows this ridge beginning to back off in about 7 to 10 days. So we'll hope that stays true. Some models trying to break the ridge down, and we're going to hope that stays true. Let's see if I can get this to advance. Give me 1 minute, see if I can get this to advance. There we are. You see right now, here's the National Hurricane Center map right now. Alright, I had an error. I was supposed to pick up the satellite imagery. Give me 1 minute. Let me load it, see if it'll load up for me. Let's see here. I'm going to do the Atlantic one. The rainbow one, sorry about this. Thought I had it in place. Just give it 1 minute. Subscribe to it. Alright, loading up right now. Just give it a few seconds for it to finish loading up. It's reading the image files. And there we go. You can see right now we have another very active morning to the afternoon hours portion of the Caribbean today. Not as active as it's been as we're waiting for the daytime heating to come up. Remember, the sun has recently came up around these areas about 3-4 hours ago. The sun has risen, so more daytime heating, a little bit more instability. We will see more showers and thunderstorms form along the area. As I freeze the frame, pretty good definition of another active monsoon trough today over this area, with showers and thunderstorms developing again today. There actually is an area of low pressure centered around this area, which the National Hurricane Center is watching for potential development, but not showing any significant signs of organization at the current time, and development is not expected during the next 48 hours. Maybe beyond that, that could be a different story for the Eastern Pacific, as a storm likely won't affect Mexico, but may head out to sea. As you can see, we have showers and thunderstorms over portions of the Western Caribbean today. So portions of Jamaica, you're going to get some rainfall today. Maybe in southern parts of Cuba may get some rainfall today. That upper level low is departing now from the Bahamas, which is causing the weather to become a little bit more clear now in portions of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and even parts of the Virgin Islands and the Lesser Antilles. We have a few tropical waves with some showers and thunderstorms over portions of east of South America, right around 10 degrees latitude, is where the thunderstorm complex is right now, showing no signs of development. Overall, atmospheric conditions are not conducive for anything to develop around this area, and no development is expected during the next 48 hours. As you can see as I head right now, this is the look at the Sahara dust right now. As you can see, it's very stagnant over the area, which means there's a lot of dry air in place. This obviously means it's not going to be conducive for anything that if a storm, see, there are some complexes coming off this right now, but they're really far south in latitude, plus they're running into this African Sahara dust. It's orange and the red and the yellow is where it's really the strongest at. So as long as this stays in place, it's going to prohibit anything from developing. So we're going to have to see in the next coming weeks when this African Sahara dust begins to lift and dissipate, when we'll start seeing these Cape Verde storms begin to form. But obviously not today. They're not going to form with it just like this. One more map I want to show you is a loop of the 5-day shear loop. You can see there's not a ton of wind shear in the Gulf, but it's starting to reform back now, especially in the Eastern Gulf. We're starting to see shear begin to increase, but it's been very shear, it's been a ton of shear over a portion of the Atlantic for the past several days, several weeks. It's actually gotten worse today, it appears to be. So we've gotten some over 10, 30, 40, 50 knots, possibly some areas of 50 knots of shear over a portion of the Eastern Atlantic. So with this in place, not favorable at all for any atmospheric condition. You can see that at the beginning of the loop, there was the remnants of Tropical Storm Arlene came onshore in Mexico. You see there was a little bit of ridging in place around that area that gave it a little time for it to form, but now the environmental conditions are not favorable anywhere over the Atlantic for anything to develop. Maybe there's a little bit of room around Central America, right around the Panama, between Panama and South America and Venezuela. There may be a little bit of room for a little bit of lack of shear, but there's nothing in there, even thunderstorms really developing around that area. So nothing right now to worry about development-wise. The tropics remain very clear right now. You can see once we have showers and thunderstorms over portions of the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, and portions of the southeast coastline. But right now, nothing organized developing at this time. Once again, I hope you all have a happy 4th of July. Stay safe. And be sure, and if you have any thunderstorms around the area, be sure and stay indoors as these storms develop. Once again, have a happy 4th of July, stay safe, and thank you for joining us for your hurricane and severe weather chat.